It started with a simple notification from my apartment security app at 1:48 a.m. that said, "Motion detected. Living room." I was in bed when it happened, wide awake because I had been scrolling on my phone for the past half hour. I live alone on the third floor of a secured building in Chicago, and the only camera I keep inside faces the front door and part of the living room. I almost ignored the notification, assuming it was a glitch or shifting light from outside, but something made me open it. The clip loaded slowly, and at first the living room looked normal. Couch against the wall, coffee table centered, front door closed. Then I saw movement near the entryway. Someone walked into frame from the hallway, same height as me, same build, wearing the exact same dark t-shirt I was wearing in bed at that moment. It was me, or something that looked exactly like me. The figure walked calmly toward the front door, paused, and stood still for a second as if listening. Then it turned its head slightly toward the camera. The face was clear. My face. Same haircut, same scar above my eyebrow, same tired expression. But the eyes looked wrong, too focused, too aware. The version of me in the footage stepped closer to the camera and leaned down slightly as if inspecting it. Then it smiled faintly, unlocked the front door, and stepped outside. The clip ended. I sat upright in bed, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I immediately checked the front door from where I was. It was closed. The deadbolt was locked. The chain was latched. I got out of bed and walked down the hallway slowly, every step cautious. The living room was exactly as it should be. No one there. The door secure. I opened the app again and replayed the clip. This time I noticed something subtle. When the figure leaned toward the camera, its lips moved slightly. I turned the volume up. There was faint audio, a whisper. Almost. My throat tightened. I checked the timestamp again, 1:48 a.m. I looked at the clock on my stove, 1:52 a.m. Only 4 minutes had passed. I scrolled back to see if there were earlier clips, nothing unusual before that. Then my phone buzzed again. Another notification. Motion detected, hallway. My stomach dropped. I don't have a hallway camera inside my unit. The building has one outside each apartment door. I opened that feed. The hallway outside my apartment was empty at first. Then my door opened, from the inside, and I walked out. Same shirt, same posture, same face. The hallway camera clearly showed me stepping out, looking both directions, and then walking toward the stairwell. I was still inside my apartment watching the footage. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. I rushed to the front door and checked it again. Still locked, chain still latched. I opened it carefully and looked into the hallway. Empty, no one there. I stepped back inside and locked it again. My breathing felt shallow and tight. I checked the building app once more. The hallway clip continued. The version of me walked toward the stairwell, paused at the corner where the camera angle partially cuts off, and then turned around slowly to face the lens directly. The face was clear. Mine. It stared into the camera for a full 5 seconds. Then it raised one hand and waved. Not exaggerated, just a slow, deliberate wave. Then it walked out of frame toward the stairs. The clip ended. I stood in my living room staring at the locked door. There was no way someone could have left without me hearing it. No way the chain could reattach itself. No way I could be in 2 places at once. Then I noticed something else. The chain on the door was slightly twisted, as if it had been unlatched and rehooked quickly. I was certain I hadn't touched it. My phone buzzed again, a text message from my own number. "You're almost ready." My chest felt tight. I checked my sent messages. There was nothing there, no outgoing text. But the notification preview showed the message clearly. Another motion alert popped up. Motion detected. Living room. I looked up from my phone slowly. The living room camera was mounted above the TV. I could see it from where I stood. The red recording light was on. I opened the live feed. The camera showed me standing there in the living room holding my phone. But behind me, near the hallway entrance, another version of me was standing in the shadows, watching. I did not turn around immediately because I was afraid that if I did, I would confirm something I could never undo. On the screen in my hand, the live camera feed clearly showed me standing in the center of the living room, phone raised, face pale, and behind me near the hallway entrance stood another version of me, perfectly still, half hidden in shadow. The lighting made its features slightly darker, but I could see enough to know it was my face. Same jawline, same scar above the eyebrow, same slight slump in the shoulders. But its posture was different, straighter, more deliberate. Like it was standing with purpose while I stood frozen in confusion. My heart was pounding so violently it made my vision pulse. I slowly shifted my eyes from the phone screen to the dark hallway behind me without turning my head. The hallway looked empty, completely empty. No movement, no silhouette. I swallowed hard and looked back at the screen. The other version of me was still there. It tilted its head slightly to the right, the exact subtle angle I had seen in previous clips. Then it took one step forward. On the screen, I saw it move closer to me, but in reality, I felt nothing behind me. No breath, no presence, just empty air. My hands began to shake uncontrollably. I whispered, "What is this?" And the live feed captured my voice clearly. A second later, the other version's lips moved, forming the same words at the same time, but slightly delayed, as if it were echoing me. I felt something cold crawl up my spine. I forced myself to turn around quickly. The hallway was empty, completely silent, no one standing there. I spun back to the screen. The other version of me was now standing directly behind where I had been moments earlier, but since I had turned, the camera now showed it facing the back of my head. Its eyes were focused on me with intense concentration. Then slowly, it raised its hand and reached toward my shoulder. I felt nothing physically, but on the screen, its fingers hovered inches away from my shirt. My breathing became shallow and uneven. I stepped forward suddenly, breaking the alignment. On the screen, the other version didn't step forward with me. It stayed in place, watching. The delay between our movements was no longer subtle. It wasn't mirroring me anymore. It was independent. My phone buzzed again with another text from my own number. "You're not matching." My chest tightened painfully. I checked my sent messages again. Nothing. No record of anything leaving my device. I looked back at the screen. The other version of me leaned slightly toward the camera and whispered something. I turned the volume up all the way. Through faint static, I heard it clearly. "Stand still." I froze instinctively, and on the screen it stepped closer again, closing the distance between us. I could see the detail in its face now. The eyes were slightly darker, the expression calmer than mine, almost patient. Then the camera feed flickered briefly, just a fraction of a second of distortion. When the image stabilized, the living room was empty, completely empty. No me, no second version, just the couch and the coffee table and the closed front door. I looked up from my phone in confusion. I was still standing there in the living room. I could see my own body. I looked back at the screen. Empty room. The camera no longer showed me at all. My pulse slammed into my ears. I moved one step to the left. The live feed still showed an empty room. I waved my arm in front of the camera. Nothing appeared on screen. It was as if I no longer existed in the feed. My phone buzzed again. "Almost ready." I stumbled backward until my back hit the wall. I switched to the hallway camera outside my apartment door. The footage showed the hallway clearly. Then my door opened from the inside, and I stepped out. Calm, controlled, looking straight ahead, wearing the same shirt. The version on the screen turned toward the hallway camera and adjusted its collar slightly, then looked directly into the lens. It smiled faintly and mouthed the word, "Ready." The clip ended. I looked at my front door in real life. It was closed, locked, the chain secure. I felt lightheaded, disoriented, like I was slightly out of sync with the room around me. I raised my hand slowly and looked at it. For a split second, it felt like there was resistance, like something else was trying to move it differently. I rushed to the mirror near the hallway. My reflection looked normal, tired, pale, shaken. But as I stared into my own eyes, I noticed something subtle. My head was tilted slightly to the right. I hadn't realized I was holding it that way. I straightened it quickly. The reflection straightened a second later. Just a fraction of a delay, barely noticeable, but enough. I haven't checked the security app since that night. I deleted it, uninstalled everything, covered the camera lens with tape. But sometimes when I walk past the TV at night and catch my reflection in the black screen, I notice my posture looks just a little too composed, a little too calm, like it's waiting for me to stand still long enough to line up perfectly. This was Midnight Whispers. If you ever see yourself on security footage, make sure it's really you inside the house.